Alright guys, this is going to be a video of me just changing my guitar strings, and this is something routine I do, I think as a guitar player you have to know how to change guitar strings. It's just something you have to do to maintain your guitar, right? Because guitar strings will kind of, over time, your skin will start to like shed some of your dead skin, right? It will basically be accumulated on your guitar strings, so it won't sound as good over time. And yeah, your strings will just get worn out over time, and you won't get the same sound anymore, and then it just won't play as well, it won't feel as nice, it won't sound as good. So it's recommended to change your guitar strings like every 3 months or so. And if you have coated guitar strings, then they'll last a little bit longer, 6 months to a year. So I generally change my guitar strings like maybe twice a year, because I usually use coated guitar strings. But if you're using uncoated, then I recommend changing them every 3 months, depending on how much you actually play them. So yeah. With my Fender Stratocaster, yeah, this one, I think the E string just for some reason it just doesn't hold a tune anymore. So I guess I have to change it. And this video is actually going to be for my friend Tony, because he was wondering how I change out guitar strings and stuff. I thought I just might show him. It's just something that's fairly simple for me to do. It's just a routine operation. I think every guitarist should know how to do it. It doesn't take very long either. So yeah. Pretty simple to do. I'm going to be using GHS coated guitar boomer strings. These are the first time, and they're round wound actually as well. I don't usually use round wound, but it's nice to have that. So yeah, it's my first time using GHS. I think like all the big guitar companies are usually Fender, D'Addario, and Ernie Ball, the three big ones, and I've used all three of those back when I was starting out to play guitar. Then eventually I just pretty much switched to Elixir strings, almost exclusively. Like, I love Elixir strings and how they're coated, right, so that they last a long time, so I don't have to keep changing out strings and stuff, and they don't break as easily either. But I decided to try out some other new strings here and there. I've tried out Dean Markley's, I've tried Sonotone, I've tried DR strings, so there's other brands I've tried here and there. So yeah, it's first time trying GHS. I'm going to try out this brand to see how good they are. I believe right now I have DR strings on here. So yeah, we're just going to change them out. It's a fairly simple thing for me to do. And I actually have locking guitar tuners. If you don't have locking guitar tuners, then basically you would just unwind the strings from the tuner. There's nothing else to do. But for me, I have to unwind the strings, and I have to loosen up the little other screw here for the locking tuner. So yeah, basically there's 2 steps for me to do since I have locking guitar tuners. And you have to unwind the tuner, and I have to kind of unwind the bottom part too, because that's what's keeping the strings in place and locking it. Yeah, if you don't have a locking tuner, then you don't need to do this part, right? There's not going to be any kind of other thumb screw here. You just unwind the first part, yeah, using the tuner. Okay, so you just take the strings off like this. And I know Tony has a Telecaster, but it's fairly similar operation to the Stratocaster. Not much difference actually when it comes to changing strings. Actually, for all guitars, it's fairly similar. I think the only difference would be like really like where does the strings come out from. I know on a Les Paul, it's actually like on a Les Paul they have a bridge here, a tailpiece, and they just come out from there. But on a Strat, they actually come out from the bottom. On a Tele, I think they also come out from the bottom as well. Unless it's a top loader Tele, like what I have in my GNL A-size, the top loader, so it actually does come out from here as well. But I think most Teles and Strats will come out from the bottom. Alright, so get all the strings loose. Yeah, pretty much just because my E string went out of tune and I cannot tune it again. Because I cut off that part. There's 2 things for me to do here, so locking tuners, but it's still fairly simple operation. Screw this. Okay, there we go. So we get all the strings off like this, right? We just get them off the tuners, and then on a Strat or a Telecaster, most Telecasters anyways, they'll come out from the back, so we just push them out the back push them at the back, and then just kind of drag them out like this. Sometimes you gotta be, sometimes they'll kind of try to get stuck, so you gotta like, because you know, like some of the strings, the tips and stuff are twisted, so you gotta make sure that they're straight in order to get them out, or they get tangled up. Come on. Okay, got most of them out. I think this one, oh, it's the E string that's a little bit annoying here. There we go. Alright, so got all the strings out. Right. So that's fairly simple. Just take out all the strings and then time to put the new strings on. Alright, so now we're going to install these new strings, the GHS boomers. Oh, this is coated guitar boomers are manufactured from the purest materials, free of environment-damaging chemical processes. This is nickel-plated steel wire. Nickel coats the other wires and wrapped around a high-quality core wire. Steel strings are coated. Located in the heart of America. Okay. So these are. Oh, these are a set of 12s. So these. Are these heavies? 12 to 52. Oh, these are heavies. They're not. Huh. These are not extra. I usually get lights or custom lights, but these are heavy. Wow, 12 to 52. I actually haven't tried heavies before. I usually go with lights or extra light. So this will be my first pair of heavy strings. I've actually never tried heavies before. Okay. Could be a little bit harder on my fingers, which I don't really like, but oh well, I'll check them out. Chest strings, okay. Made in the USA, of course. So these are round wound, so they have a round core, right? I've never tried a string with a round core. Oh man, 52s. Okay, yeah, these are pretty thick. Let's see. Oh, no way to open these things. No easy way. Okay. Let's do it like this. Nope. No easy way to open these. Let me get a. These packets are not easy to open, unfortunately. I think that should be easy to open. Okay. Let's go strings out. Start one by one. Keep it simple. So I'm going to start with the low E string first. I'm just going to thread it through the back. So usually on Telecasters and Strats, right, there's holes on the back here corresponding to which string it is. So I just got to thread through the hole. Very simple. Then just put it through the tuner. And since I have locking tuners, I also have to adjust the bottom one here as well to lock it and keep it in place. But on a regular tuner, you just have to do this. You don't have, there's nothing else to lock it in place. So. Yeah, these are pretty thick. Okay, maybe I'll keep it like that. And then once you get it here, basically to a place where you stretch the string out, you just put your finger here to kind of like keep it in place, and then you just turn the tuner as you keep it in place. You just hold it in place while you turn the tuner, right? And that's all you have to do for a regular tuner. Because I have a locking tuner, I have to also do that in addition, but I'm gonna do that at the end when I have everything kind of tuned already. So yeah, to keep it in place. Okay, now I'm not gonna like keep tuning it like to full or anything. I'm just gonna turn it a little bit. That's because I have to put all the other strings on first, and then I'll start tuning everything at the end. Okay, the next highest gauge is going to be the A string. So let's do that. Okay, put the A string in. Same thing here, just use my finger to hold it in place. Yeah, just kind of hold it in place like this and then tune it. Turn the tuners. Turn the tuners for a little bit until it gets a little bit stiffer. Until you feel the string is a little bit stiffer. Okay, if you get decently stiff, then you stop and go to the next string. Then I have the D string here. Same thing, the D string here, hold it in place, turn the tuner until the strings get a little bit stiff and tight. I usually just pluck the string until basically I see it get a little bit stiff and tight. That's fine, and then go into the next one. So this is now the G string. Alright. Oh, we had some extra slack on this one. Make sure that the string is all the way through the back. Okay. Tune this one, the D string, a little bit more. So there was some more like string in the back that I forgot to make sure that the string is all the way pushed up. There we go. Now the G string. Through the hole in the tuner, same thing. Just make sure that the string is at the longest you can go, right after you put it through the tuner hole. And then it's the peg hole right here in the middle. And then you hold it in place and then start turning the tuner until it gets a little bit stiff. So I can see the string coming down. Right. That's when I know I can finally let go, because I see it coming down more flat to the board. And I can just keep on plucking it until I hear a decent amount of tension. Okay, that's fine. And then B string here. Same thing. Oh, this one I think has a little bit more. not. Okay, make sure that the string is fully slacked. Yeah, make sure that string is fully through the hole, and then make sure you get all the string and make sure it's fully slacked to the board, to the fingerboard. I mean. Okay. I'm going to hold it here, make sure that it's more slack to the board, see the tension in the string, get it closer to the fingerboard. Okay, look. Okay, so now for the B string, same thing, I put it through the hole in the tuner. Try to push it all the way until it's flat to the fingerboard. Now for the B string, there's a string tree here, so you make sure you put it under the string tree. Yeah, for the B and E strings, you got to put it under the string tree as well. And then same thing, I just kind of hold the string in place, turning the tuner until it gets flat to the fingerboard. Sometimes you got to keep holding it in place so that the string remains straight. Yeah, basically, as you turn it, you'll see that the string should be getting flatter and flatter to the fingerboard. Yeah, sometimes I just got to keep my finger here holding it in place so that it doesn't pop out. You should be hearing the string get higher and higher pitch as you turn it. So it doesn't have to be perfect, just add a, yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect, just add a degree where you can hear like a decent pitch come out of the string. Okay. So it looks like I gotta turn it more. This one I have to turn quite a bit. Keep it under the string tree here. There, so I hear like a decently high pitch on the string, and it's like reasonably high tension, so I just leave it. And then finally the last one, the high E string. Let's do it. Put it through the tuner hole. This one, make sure that the strings are all on the nut holes, by the way. Make sure that, yeah, they have to fit in the nut holes, and then the two highest strings, the B string and the high E string, have to go under the string tree as well. So those two things have to be done. And just hold it in place, and then keep turning the tuner. Yep, here getting tighter. Okay. So yeah, make sure that all the strings are in the string on the. Yeah, so make sure that all the strings are in the slots on the nuts. So make sure that all the strings are properly slotted or resting in the slot in the nut, and then make sure the two high strings are under the string tree. So that's important. And then yeah, just use your index finger to hold the string in place while you turn the tuner. And then once it's high enough tension, you can just kind of pluck it like this. And yeah, and that's it. And just, okay, so they're all decent tension. That means I can start really tuning it now, right? So yeah, I just wanted to get it to like a high enough tension so that it's not like so loose. So I gotta make sure that's like decently tight. But I don't know like if it's the right tune or not, so I gotta finish tuning it. Usually I just go like this. I open up an app for a guitar tuner on my phone, and then just use the tuner on my phone. Okay. And then while I'm tuning it, yeah, basically I just keep plucking the string until it gets to the right pitch. So this is a low E string, and make sure it's a little bit higher up. Okay, got it. And then A string, make sure it's up to pitch. A string. D string. Just do this for all the different strings. Keep turning the tuner until you get to the correct pitch. Okay, G string. Okay, B string. And high E string. That string will have the most tension. See, usually it's the highest C string that's under the highest tension, so it's the most likely to break. But if it breaks, then that's when you know it's not a good string. If you have a decent guitar string, it shouldn't break. But I know I've had cheaper strings where the high E string would just break as I tune it because it just isn't good quality. But any decent guitar string should be able to. Yeah, should be able to hold it. I would say just be a little bit slower with the high E string, because it's the one that's kind of hardest to tune. So yeah, it's just such a high pitch. Yeah, and sometimes when you keep tuning it, it'll like go down a little bit over time because it's like, yeah, see, you just saw that it kind of like dropped down again, so you gotta keep tuning it up again. It's just trying to maintain the amount of tension. Man, these keep going down. It's not really good. I just gotta keep tuning it. Gotta keep tuning up. Come on. Come on, you can do it. There. See, we got off the pitch. So yeah, that's a high E string. So now it's because these are if it's not locking tuners, then you really got to make sure that all the rest of the strings are still in tune. But what I'm going to do now is, because I have locking tuners, I can just kind of lock it in place now. So that way, it's going to maintain the. It's going to be basically easier to stay in tune, and that's really the main benefit of locking tuners. Is it's just easier once you get all the things up to the correct pitch. Lock it in, make sure that it stays in place, and then it'll be easier to maintain the tuning. Because yeah, with non-locking tuners, yeah, strings just go out of tune really easily. So locking tuners, I find it's much easier to keep the strings in tune. Okay, so if you don't have locking tuners, just you have to make sure that the other strings are constantly in tune, right? But even with locking tuners, I just got to make sure that it's constantly in tune. So this one, I can already tell that the E string went down again, so I have to keep pushing it up. There. Now it's correct. I'm gonna do this for every string again. Gotta retune it a little bit more. Yeah, basically you gotta keep plucking the strings, making sure that they're all in tune. You gotta retune a few times, because every time you tune one up, the other ones might fall back down again. So basically, you gotta get to a point where all of them are in proper tune. So this time it took me longer than usual, but I would say usually it doesn't take me more than like 3 or 4 times to 3 or 4 retunes. I mean, just keep plucking them until all of them are the right pitch. Yeah, because like generally when you're like installing new strings and you keep adjusting the tension, like it'll change the other strings tuning. So you got to keep going back and making sure that they're all the correct tuning. But once you do that, it'll get easier and easier to keep it in tune as the strings get used to the tension. Yeah, so usually I would say about 3 to 4 times you have to retune it, and then after that I think it's good. So now I think it's good. Yeah. Yeah, I think they're all pretty much the right tune now, right pitch. All right. So yeah, that's really it. Yeah, like I said, with locking tuners it's actually easier. If you don't have locking tuners, it might take you I don't know, like 5 to 10 tries to get everything in tune. And then after that, it'll just fall out of tune much easier. So that's why I don't really like regular tuners. But with locking tuners, from this point on, it's not going to fall out of tune very easily. I mean, it still will, but it won't fall out of tune as often as regular tuners. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think everything is in tune now. Maybe like a little bit more here. Yeah, so once every string is in tune, you make sure that, double check it, and then you can finally cut off the strings with a string cutter. So yeah, if you don't have a string cutter, then you have to use scissors, which is very annoying. So that's why I usually just buy a string cutter, because if you use scissors, it's not very, yeah. Before I had a string cutter, I used scissors, but that's not easy to do actually, and it's, yeah, it's actually, yeah, it's just not as easy as using string cutter. So I recommend getting a string cutter just for this. It's pretty cheap too. And make sure you leave yourself a little bit of string. So I give myself maybe like an inch or two of string left. All right, that's just in case you have to retune further. Give yourself maybe like an inch or two of string at the end. This one, same thing. Give myself maybe a little bit, inch or two string. Cutting it, and this one as well, here, and these two are kind of annoying to do, but I think this one is right here. There we go. Cut off the tips of all the strings, leaving like maybe an inch or two left, just in case I need to, retune a bit. And just double check my pitch again, because usually after cutting the strings, they'll go down again, so you gotta retune it. Of course, now with locking tuners, it shouldn't have gone too far down for me. Okay. Yeah, so locking tuners, they really don't change much in tune. So Yeah, they're reasonably in tune. Okay. Shouldn't have changed it that much. Okay. Okay, that's it. Yep, that's it. So I got, that's basically how string changing works. It's really pretty simple, right? Just change out the strings and take them out from the back, install the new ones, make sure that you keep your hand in place, make sure that the string is in the nut slot, make sure the two heights are under the string tree, hold it in, while hold in the string while you adjust the tuners, and then basically use the app to tune the strings and count them off, and that's pretty much it, right? Yeah, I haven't played heavy gauge in a while. Okay, yeah, that's pretty much it for changing the strings.